Okay, done.
Cool. Okay, well, welcome to another community call. So we have so many different things going on now that I don't even know where to start. So, well, maybe you, Jean, can comment to start with about the Twitter Spaces sessions that we are starting to do every week with partners. So people know about that.
Yes, we well, in the last year or so, we had a lot of new integrations and a lot of conversations ongoing with partners. Like a lot came from Guangmian, but from the rest of the business the development team as well. And well, we want to showcase the projects, and we also have the projects that are participating in the incubator that we want to give them visibility. So we are scheduling spaces with these projects, and it will probably be one each week. And there's a lot in the list already. And if you have any recommendations, we can also take recommendations. If there's any project that you think would be a good fit, even if it doesn't integrate Kleros like immediately. Sometimes it's it's in the same. It's an area of research that has to do with Kleros. It's also a good candidate.
So yeah, and this is a good way to, keep spreading the word about different use cases we have. Please feel free to recommend projects with whom you think we could do spaces. So also today we had an internal workshop, or not workshop, demo about Proof of Humanity 2.0 with a number of improvements regarding the previous version. This is, maybe you can comment. Andre is not here, right? Because Andre should be the person that, I think, Jean, did we do, or are we planning to do an open demo on Humanity community?
We did it twice, but I believe there's a lot of changes that we did not show yet. So I believe we should do that after we finished discussing the Constitution, which should take one more week. I believe we should schedule that. But basically, the new Proof of Humanity V2 will be multi-chain, and we'll have one of the other chains apart from mainnet will be the Gnosis chain, that has almost negligible fees, like less than 1 cent for transaction. And we are also having one ID per each person. So, for example, if you lose access to your address, instead of doing the process that you have right now, where you request the removal of your submission and then request to get into the registry again, you can just reclaim the same ID with a different address. So there's this kind of soulbound quality to it, a little bit like what was described in the Vitalik article that one of the articles that describes like this ecosystem of identities in Web3 or in the internet. So there will be one ID that can be used for each person, and this allows other things to be built on top of Proof of Humanity.
Cool. So we are doing that, and it's looking great. We need first, the only thing that this needs to be ready for launch is almost like just improving the text on the interface and that, but it's looking great. So really looking forward to that. Then we are planning for those who are based in Paris, in case someone is based in Paris, event there to be held on the 8th or 9th of March, for mostly for a legal audience of arbitrators and lawyers from interested in Web3. So we will of course release this soon when we define the venue and exact speakers and list and that. So that's cool. I'm going to be there, and then we are also trying to make a bigger event about the Kleros just before the HCC. This we think will be done in partnership with the CRED. CRED is a Paris Center for Law and Economics. That's where Jan, our PhD researcher, is working. And so Jan is, he works at Kleros, but it's a type of contract from France where it's a PhD student that researches something which is relevant, in this case about game theory and cryptoeconomics, and also works at the company. So we have very close ties with this research center, which is part of ASAS. That is one of the, I guess the most important law school in France. So we did there in 2020 a conference. It was almost, it was at the Sorbonne. Well, it's recorded. You can watch that. It's just before COVID. And now we are going to do another one where we are going to leverage all of the knowledge and all of the experience we had since, the beginning of Kleros. And it's a way to motivate more people to join this movement and to, start, also helping us in research. There are lots of different things that we need people to research on. This is going to be mostly a conference for academics. And I will, let William a bit explain some of the research we have been doing together in the past few weeks, and also a bit of overview of what we see moving forward in improving Kleros mechanism design and all of the crypto economics. So go ahead, William.
Yeah, so I assume you're referencing all the sort of behavioral research that you're very enthusiastic about. Yeah. So most of the models we've used for sort of Kleros parameterization and a lot of our thoughts so far have been very kind of theoretical, kind of classical models where you have perfectly rational actors that are risk neutral, and you get into interesting questions like, okay, how do human beings actually behave? How do they interact with these sort of games? And do they act in ways that deviate from these models in ways that which should influence your design of your model? And personally, I've always really thought of the attackers that we want to defend Kleros against as being the perfectly rational entities that are like large budgets and are risk neutral. But when you have individual users, they're human beings, they're complicated, they vary a lot from person to person, and you want to design mechanisms that behave well with this diversity of users. But it's hard to have something that's really bespoke without lots of data. And we've never had all that much data, even though we've had over 1,000 cases. But now, thanks to our collaboration with the CRED, hopefully we'll have more experiments. The next version of Kleros in V2 will be more modular, so we can sort of compare different modules and different courts. They can have different mechanisms designed simultaneously. So particularly a lot of the kind of game theory research that I think Federico is most interested in, which is very interesting, is around how does different categories of users that are willing to particularly sort of suffer losses when they feel that their morality is being violated in order to retaliate against other users. So in the sort of behavioral economics research, these people are referred to as strong reciprocators. So there's a bunch of interesting sort of game theory experiments where you'll see that there'll be there are some percentage of the population when you do these experiments will be the kind of selfish, self-interested, trying to optimize their expected value participant that you kind of think of as being the rational participant in game theory. But other participants, if they see that someone is deviating in a coordination game and they're harming a group, they'll retaliate even at expense to themselves. which is very interesting. And like there are lots of sort of theories about human evolution about why like such a large percentage of the human population would behave like this in experiments. You know, you get the questions like, okay, are there members of the Kleros ecosystem that are acting like strong reciprocators? You know, that they see something on a curated list that shouldn't be there. Like, how well do they need to be incentivized to challenge that? You know, maybe the fact that they just want to keep the list clean and be part of the, you know, a good part of the community will be enough of an incentive for them if they feel that, like, you know, they're doing some like social role. So anyway, it's all very sort of interesting research, and you know, like maybe we'll have experiments to kind of tease this out and do kind of, you know, try to borrow some of the experiments from behavioral economics and take them into a more Kleros direction to see what we observe.
Yeah, so we're very much into that. I mean, I spent a lot of time last week doing research on this, and so we'll see what we can learn from, you know, behavioral game theory and evolutionary psychology in order to improve the mechanism design at Kleros. One interesting thing that I found through my research, you know, game theorists typically they are like when they develop models, they are based mostly on introspection, on how they think, you know, users or rational agents would behave under different circumstances. I mean, that's what Ronald Coase once said, that if economists wanted to, I mean, do a model about horses, they wouldn't like go out and see how horses behave, but they would just, you know, sit in their room and they say, okay, how would I behave if I were a horse? You know, that type of. So this creates lots of well, criticisms from the point of view of experimental and behavioral economists, and because one interesting thing about this experimental game theory, you know, you have this ultimatum game where you have two players and one player needs to split like $10 with the other one and has to make an offer, and then you will say, okay, you know, if I am the guy who makes the offer, I mean, let me just offer like $1 and let me keep 9, and the other guy, I mean, if he's rational, I mean, he's going to accept it, because if he doesn't accept it, then that's $0 for each, and then if he takes the offer, I mean, he will take $1, which is more than 0. So that's the rational thing to do, right? So well, it turns out that the predictions that this, you know, of the what should be the right answer in the ultimatum game, when you test this empirically, it never works. I mean, they tested this in like every culture in the world, and never. I mean, all of the offers, or the overwhelming majority of the offers of less than $2 are rejected, and so both players get 0. So this is a good example of how people behave. Well, I mean, not like these ultra rational models predict, and this has potentially lots of impacts in the way in which we think about Kleros mechanism design. So we are doing research about this, and we want to have more people, I mean, do research about this so we can improve how Kleros works. And this is important because it would expand a lot the amount of use cases that we can address. And also, it will make Kleros look more legitimate in a number of use cases that involve dealing with people who are not, you know, ultra rational agents or in DeFi protocols trying to optimize exactly what they, I mean, their financial gain, but more like common people trying to make decisions in content moderation or other like more like a lower value use cases. So this is a super interesting research that we are doing now. So we have that. Then we have, let me think, well, V2 via, you know, we already spoke about this last week and the previous one with the demo. So if you haven't watched the demo that JB did, you can, it's online, it's on YouTube. So I mean, Jean can share this now. Let me see, Abir, do you have something to mention about the fellowship?
Well, we'll be having the next meeting with the fellows this Friday. You know, gonna see what sort of what progress they've been making. I have been having meetings with some fellows as they progress with their research, certain questions and all they've been having. So with one fellow in particular, I had a call lasting a good 75 minutes. So they're making decent progress and, looking forward to what they come up with. Other than that, after this fellowship meeting, we're going to take stock of the research that these guys have done so far, and we will be shortlisting the top few to have a sort of online fellowship symposium where they present their research, they talk about everything they've been doing. We'll be inviting people from the community and broader academic circles that Kleros is in to the event to showcase some of the work the fellowship has been doing. So looking forward to that.
It's like fellowship demo day. Okay, thank you. I don't know, Shotaro, if you have any update about SUSE worth mentioning.
No outward facing changes with SUSE, just some differences in the backend infrastructure, not too interesting. But on another topic, the development progress on the Vea bridge. So this is the bridge that Kleros v2 will use, and is a bit unique, and we are iterating on some improvements, and it's a one event security model, so one honest participant can make the bridge function correctly, permissionless, governance minimized. There's actually no governance over the bridge. This is one of the very few projects that is permissionless in the sense of the operators. So development's moving forward, so it's a good sign.
Okay, thank you. And I guess that's it for today. I don't know if you guys have any questions for us. Okay, then see you on Telegram and plan your POAP.
See you guys.
You can DM me. Bye.
Everybody.